A very warm welcome, everyone. My name is Touria Meliani and I'm the Deputy Mayor of the City of Amsterdam. And I'm responsible for the digital city. I'm proud that we, as the City of Amsterdam, are the host of this next generation Internet Policy Summit, together with Nesta and with the European Commission. Right now, I'm in the Next Museum. It's the first museum in the Netherlands dedicated to new media art. It has very large-scale exhibitions, as you can see behind me. And this museum challenges the visitors to think about the future of art and media, but also how technology is influencing our daily lives. And with this next generation Internet Policy Summit, we like to invite politicians, policymakers, creative thinkers to reflect upon the future of European Internet. And as the City of Amsterdam, we are a very proud member of the City Coalition of Digital Rights. Like now it has 45 cities who are joined together and aiming to protect our human rights, our human digital rights. And we agree on the need for freedom and also the need for inclusion. We agree on our responsibility to act accordingly and also the need to regulate. I'll take this chance to point out one crucial area where our attention is crucial. Algorithms and AI have become an inseparable part of our daily lives and government. They are used to prevent traffic jams, to find smarter routes for cleaning services, or, for example, to analyze if people are missing out very important social benefits. But we also see that it's hard to understand. It divides people. People know how it works, and on the other part of people, and I think it's the biggest part of the group of people, don't understand how it works. And I think as a city we have to take our responsibility to make sure that people know how it works. This is why the City of Amsterdam has joined forces with the City of Helsinki to work towards a standard for fair public AI. But today we take another important step. I'm extremely proud to present to you the world's first, very first algorithm and AI register. A resource for every person who wants to know how algorithms work. I hope other cities and governments will follow our example. We can do a lot as governments to establish trust in open internet and to make sure people know how to use the internet in a safe and secure manner. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you're going to enjoy this summit and the following very short presentation of the new algorithm AI register. Thank you.
Introducing the world's first algorithm and artificial intelligence register. Algorithms and artificial intelligence have become an integral part of our lives. Governments use these tools to improve the accessibility and experience of their services and our public spaces. However, that means that citizens need to understand how algorithms work and how they affect their daily lives. That's why we have developed the Algorithm and AI Register. The register gives citizens the transparency they deserve. You can learn why and how algorithms are being used and who is affected, or dive into what data is being used, how it's processed, how discrimination is prevented, the degree of human oversight, and how risks are handled. Help us improve the register and make it the standard for transparency in algorithms and artificial intelligence.
great. Thank you very much, Touria, and that's a very important development to make our internet a lot more democratic. I hope it goes well. Now, if you are interested in the role of cities in making AI and algorithms more transparent and more resilient, then don't forget to log into tonight to the Ask Me Anything session with Amsterdam CTO Ger Barron and London CTO Theo Blackwell. And tomorrow at 3:40 p.m. we'll hear more from Amsterdam and the City Coalition for Digital Rights. Now, once again, if you are watching this from YouTube or Twitter, don't forget you can stay there, but it's much more fun if you head over to our platform, summit.ngi.eu, where you can participate in a live discussion, real time, suggest questions for our panelists, take part in a lot of discussions, and also respond to our interactive polls. Speaking of which, I'm going to kick things off with the first poll of the day, and it is a question for all of you. It is, how do you feel about the internet today? What are you feeling? Are you optimistic or not so much? Tell us. Come and join the platform and tell us exactly how you feel. And while we collate those answers, I am able to invite another speaker to give you a very warm welcome on behalf of the City of Amsterdam. And that gentleman is the State Secretary for the Interior and Kingdom Relations of the Netherlands, a very impressive title, Raymond Knops.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big warm welcome to all of you. During the COVID-19 crisis, digital technology has proven to be one of the most vital elements of our society. It allowed us to work from home, to shop online, and teach our children while they stayed at home. And also, because of the existence of a fast-speed internet, I can speak to you today. The last months, it felt we were all part of one big social experiment. A time in which we were all forced to go digital. A time in which data, artificial intelligence and digital skills suddenly were on top of the agenda. And a time in which we realized how much we depend on fast and secure internet connections. In short, COVID-19 is accelerating the next generation internet and digital transformation in a way we have never seen before. And this is expected to endure, also in the post-COVID-19 era. Digital transformation is more than ever needed to boost the recovery of our society and economy. And it also offers new opportunities for a sustainable, competitive and inclusive society. With the use of sensor technology, we can detect plant diseases and subsidence in the ground. And with AI and new technology, we can determine what's the right moment for the maintenance of, for instance, roads, bridges and lampposts. Any technological development, however, raises questions and also poses important risks. For instance, how will technology affect our lives? And to which extent can we already oversee this? And should we be alert to the threat technological development poses to pivotal European values such as autonomy, non-discrimination and human dignity? I would say yes. It is key that we adopt a human-centric approach and ensure that all human rights are respected and strengthened. I believe that sharing our ideas and cooperation across Europe is key to achieve technologies that put human rights at the center. My personal motto is learning by doing. And don't forget, failure is all just as important as success. An inclusive approach is an important facilitator in digital transformation. The COVID-19 crisis reaffirms and amplifies the importance of digital inclusion of all citizens. Particularly now, during the COVID-19 crisis, all citizens have to be able to participate in the online world. Extra attention should be paid to vulnerable groups that are more than ever in need of internet access, digital devices and skills support. Key technologies such as artificial intelligence change the skills needed in daily life and in workforce. Digital skills such as information management and critical thinking have been proven to be indispensable in our knowledge-driven societies. Only a part of the workforce, however, actually masters these skills. And the next step should be to operationalize and translate inclusiveness and a human-centric approach on AI into tangible and practical guidelines and tools for our citizens. It's important to start at a young age. Playfulness combined with a serious message is key. And that's why we developed a Donald Duck on AI and human rights for primary school children, and it is very successful. We are also developing tools and guidelines for AI developers. That's to say, to design principles for AI developers that prevent AI systems from having discriminatory effects throughout the policy life cycle. A human rights impact assessment that helps AI developers to identify and mitigate potential human rights risks of an AI system in an early development stage. We expect to finish this tool in September of this year. I strongly believe in public-private partnerships in digital transformation. My ministry takes part in a public-private partnership on key technologies. The Netherlands AI Coalition and the Dutch Blockchain Coalition are examples of that. And within these coalitions, challenge-based innovation allows startups and small and medium enterprises to come up with solutions for societal challenges. For instance, a competition on AI for the public sector resulted in AI models to track child abuse through video classification, and a search engine for handwritten historical documents. I hope and wish the policy, view and approach of the Dutch government inspires and provokes discussion. Inspiring, discussing, meeting and seeking solutions are central today. I wish you all an interesting, fruitful day.
Oh, great, okay. Great, okay, thank you very much, Raymond. Much appreciated and very optimistic words. We can be positive about the future of the internet. But not everyone is as positive as I thought they might be. Because the results of our poll are in, I asked all of you how you're feeling about the internet today. And the results are, little drum roll, that was a pathetic drum roll, but the results are 50-50. So 50% of you are pessimistic about the future of the internet. Let's see if that's going to change by the end of today, and better still by the end of tomorrow, because we're going to be sharing, obviously, a lot of information for all of you. Okay? And a practical housekeeping note is that when you're on the summit.ngi.eu website, on the right-hand side, you'll see the chat box, and just above, there's a tab that says polls, and click on that, and then you can take part in the interactive polls that we'll be organizing. Right, I mentioned earlier where I am standing, the headquarters of the Amsterdam Internet Exchange, and luckily enough for you, and also for me, because I'm interested in what actually happens in this place, we have the CEO of this organization who's right here and able to join me. So on that note, I'd like to introduce Peter van Burkl. Peter. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Kine.
So tell me, I guess the most obvious question is off the back of that poll that we just heard, the results of our public is 50-50, but how do you feel about the internet today?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And maybe I'm somewhat of the same disposition. So you could argue that the internet is maybe the best invention ever, or at least one of them, up there quite high, connecting people globally and providing this opening place where people can meet and learn, etc. But I think there's also a lot of trouble currently facing us. So things like privacy, security, etc. are all quite challenging.
But if you were given those two buttons, Peter,
yeah.
Pessimistic or optimistic, which one would you press? How do you feel about the internet today?
I'm Dutch, right? So I'm about compromise. But I would say optimistic. I would say optimistic, yeah, okay. Because of the opportunity, as long as we can deal with the threats, if you will.
Okay, and what are those threats? What would you say the chief threat is to the internet right now?
Yeah, like I said, I think security at large. So when you think of the internet as maybe utilitarian, like water and gas and light, etc., then in those areas I'm relatively safe if I connect to the power grid or if I take a glass of water from the mains. Mm-hmm. But if you then go onto the internet, all of a sudden as a user, I need to take care of all kinds of security measures myself. Yeah. So there's quite some threats with fraud, phishing, and what have you. And those are things we really need to address and take care of, both technology but also policy-wise, to make sure that that's not going to sort of tilt it to the negative. And as long as we can deal with those, then I'm quite optimistic with what the internet has to offer.
Okay. And when it comes to AM6's own role, this internet exchange's own role in achieving all those positive developments we want with the internet by 2030, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think some of the clue is in the name, right? We're an internet exchange, which means that we exchange traffic, internet traffic. And maybe the best way to describe it is a little bit like the harbor. If you think of the harbor of Rotterdam, for example, or Schiphol, the airport, right? People or goods come in and they're being put on other planes or other boats or trains, etc. And that's what we do. So a lot of the traffic is coming into Amsterdam through different networks or providers, and we then make sure that it actually connects to where it needs to go. So basically we're a hub where all that internet traffic comes together, and we just as efficiently, securely and safely as possible make sure it gets where it needs to go.
Okay. And are there any, I don't know, innovations or that you're working on, or what can we expect from the next generation of internet exchanges?
So I think there's two major topics you could argue. One is around the technology of the internet itself, right? So I think we all know that the IP4 address space is basically out. There's no more room, so we need to switch to different addressing algorithms or technology. I think there's also a lot of development happening around how internet traffic is actually routed, depending on where you're from in the world. So there's a lot of development and innovation going there. But the other part is really around the data, because ultimately, it is about what do we do with the data and how do we turn that data into information and actually knowledge. So there was a clip about AI, for example. That's a good example. But we also see things like self-driving cars and 5G and all that sort of technology, which is great, but ultimately it all needs to be plugged together in the end. So there's a lot of innovation happening on that front, the actual application of what you can do with the internet. But to make that possible, we need a lot of innovation on the technology side to make sure that can actually happen. So those would be the two pieces.
And is there a piece of a technology or innovation that you're particularly personally excited about? You say, oh, I want that here, I want it now.
Yeah, it's again, it's both, because it's so interlocked, right? Yeah. So I'm very excited about things like, well, actually a clip you just saw, how we can actually leverage technology like AI to make things better. But again, as the CEO of AM6, I'm also quite excited about the technology angle that's happening and how we facilitate actually that sort of development. Because it's not just about the computer or the server or wherever the software is running. It doesn't work if we can't connect everything up. So again, I'm torn between so picking Dutch. One. Yeah, I am. So but ultimately, ultimately it's about the application. If there's no application, why would you need the network, right? Yeah. But they just don't go without each other.
Okay, great. And I guess it would be remiss of me not to talk about the impact of COVID on the exchange before we move on to a very exciting next segment, which is a quiz, and you'll be involved in that. Tell us, what's been the impact of COVID on the exchange?
Yeah. So we've been lucky, I think. First of all, we've been front-seated to what happened with COVID. So in the Netherlands specifically, 15th of March, 17th of March, we had the lockdown. And we saw a spike in the traffic straight away, because many people, of course, had to work from home, and we saw that straight away. Actually, we saw...
You included, I presume?
Yeah. So everybody at AM6 also started working from home as of that week. And we opened the office back up sort of June timeframe when some of the measures were being released. But we saw a spike straight away, and actually we saw like 20-25% growth of traffic overall, just almost overnight. And the interesting thing is that it's not declining. So we still see that level of traffic happening, so it means people are still working from home. Yeah. We also see a lot of, as a result, a lot of conferencing type traffic over the network, but also gaming and streaming. Yeah. So next to the business side, we also see a lot of the sort of the private use of the internet as well. Right. So we've seen a steep incline in traffic. Luckily, everybody is safe and healthy. So we've been able to deal with that influx of traffic quite effectively, actually.
Great, and that increase of data use is a perfect bridge to the first question of our quiz. We have a great quiz. what is the highest all-time peak traffic record on the Amsterdam Internet Exchange? Just tell me straight up what the answer is.
Okay, so that's 8.2 terabit per second.
Okay, which means very little to me.
Exactly.
Perhaps it means everything to our entire audience. But just to be to put it in context and to make it a little bit easier or more accessible to understand, let's take a 4K HD quality video. How many of these could you transfer at the same time to equal 8.2 terabits a second?
Yeah, that would be 320,000.
320,000. I was going to
Videos
give
in
3
parallel.
options.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping to ruin
sorry.
the quiz, Peter.
Well, you said that we're going to take part. So.
No, he's making it easy. You're making it easier for everyone at home. It's
All
very
right, sorry.
thoughtful of you. That's very, very thoughtful.
I'm so
It's good.
enthusiastic about this stuff.
Okay, no, that's great. 8 terabits a second corresponds to simultaneous transmission of up to 320,000 4K HD quality videos, or approximately 200 million A4 plain text pages. Which is, to put that in context, is 175,000 times the complete works of William Shakespeare. So that's a lot of data.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. How many networks are connected to the Amsterdam Internet Exchange? Wait. Let's give everyone the opportunity. Let's count down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's the answer?
868.
886? Or?
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, see, I'm correcting
English.
you now. I know the
Turn
details.
it around. Darn.
Okay, 886 networks are connected to the Amsterdam Internet Exchange. What does that mean? What sorts of networks are we talking about? Is that other hubs, or what's a network?
No, so it's a mix of, it's not just networks, it's also content providers. So for example, we're streaming on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's the likes of those, Facebook, Yahoo, etc. But also a number of networks, so actually service providers or what we call eyeball networks, so where the actual user is taking their internet. And more actually we see also enterprises connect, so the likes of logistics companies, for example, or in the oil and gas industry, because they start to understand that moving everything to the cloud is great. But again, if you don't have the right connectivity, you're going to struggle. So we see more and more of those move in as well.
Okay, great. Okay, and the third and final question. The Amsterdam Internet Exchange is one of the first internet exchanges there is. When was the Amsterdam Internet Exchange founded? Thank you for the pause. See, it happens so naturally. You're a pro at this.
I got it.
Okay, so when was it founded?
The first mention actually of the Amsterdam Internet Exchange was in 1994. So last year actually we had our 25th anniversary. And that's when it came about. So
how did you celebrate?
We did it in style, I'll say. No, we took.
What's a Dutch style celebration?
Yeah, no, we took everybody out for a nice dinner, and we had some wine tasting, etc. So we kept it intimate, but of course throughout the year we did a number of things during events and etc. But as an organization, we kept it quite intimate.
And you're excited about the future?
I'm excited about the next 25 years. Yes.
Are you going to stay here in the next 25 years?
I don't know. That's for others to tell. But I'm not planning on leaving. No.
Great. But I am going to invite you to leave right now, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
You're welcome.
contribution. Great to hear from you.
Thank you. Bye bye.